Hey man.
I said, how you doing?
Uh, uh, well, it's a bit bizarre seeing a test match in under 2 days. But before we talk about that, I saw Dean Alger's press conference where he said he asked the umpires if the pitch was safe. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the match, do you concur with his request with the umpires? Did you feel the pitch was potentially unsafe?
Um, yeah, I'd say to an extent because there was a lot of uneven bounce, and I think a lot of times when the bowlers were really hitting the deck, it was sort of that trampoline bounce that really, shot up and really uncomfortable. But I mean, it was a perfect kind of pitch for a fast bowler. I think you'd relish that as a fast bowler, and I think the telling innings in this test match was definitely on day one. Travis Head, I thought he played brilliantly.
Yeah,
Kind of a bit of a counter-attacking sort of innings because
yeah.
I mean Australia were in all sorts of trouble as well. But yeah, I mean
Mm,
I told you this before the series. You know, uh, my one concern is the betting, and it's proved to be the case. I really didn't have a lot of expectations, but I also didn't expect the pitch to be that green to start off.
mm, mm,
Uh,
mm,
first, that like really that really caught my eye there. But there was so much of grass on this wicket,
mm, mm,
and it was
mm.
very difficult. But yet again, I'd say poor application from the batters. Poor application from the batters, and pretty proud of the bowlers, how they actually, you know, actually played in this game here. I mean, 2 days. I mean, what can you say
Mm.
of a match in 2 days? But I mean, geez, the batsman. I mean, how long is this going on for? I mean, you,
Yeah.
you, you, someone's got to take responsibility here at the moment. And if I look at that batting lineup, and we spoke about it last week as well. I mean, it's such a mismatch. If you look at the amount of centuries that the Aussies have in their top five compared to this
Yeah.
team, I mean, you've got Elgar. Elgar is a fine batsman, but he's not a class batsman. We've, we've
Yeah.
got to be honest about that. He's not a class player. And we all talk
Yeah.
about the 2018 series and how memorable it was. But I just want to
Yeah.
say, how many survivors are from that team? How many survivors are from that side that beat Australia? Uh,
Yeah. There are not really many, eh? But-
Survivors
Yeah.
are
There
from
are
that
not,
team. There's not really
yeah.
many.
Mm.
Look, a little bit of a concern for me is we're picking players that are pretty old in terms of age
Mm.
and
Mm.
don't have a lot of years left to offer this team. Guys like Rassi, guys like Sarel Ervia. I mean, I understand Elgar is the captain, but I think I can only see Elgar going for another 2 or 3 years,
Mm.
maybe 2 years more. And then you've got to obviously uh, give the reins to another, and you got to
Yeah.
obviously give the baton off to someone else. And I think probably the best player for that role is Bavuma, in my opinion.
Mm.
I think this is
Mm.
his format, and
Mm.
I think he's the right man for the job. So yeah, I think it's time to actually look at youngsters because I mean I said it to you off air yesterday.
Mm.
It's better to give a youngster an opportunity, giving him an extended run. If he fails,
Mm.
he's definitely going to learn from his failures, as opposed
Mm.
to a 33, 34-year-old that doesn't have much much time to offer you as a national team player. So
Yeah.
that's my concern. And uh, there's so many batsmen in this lineup that have technical issues, that have
Yeah.
real technical issues with regards to the game, and that needs to be sorted out. So I mean,
Yeah.
they've got a few more days that they can sit back and reflect on this performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing to be proud of as a batting unit. Obviously, the
Yeah.
bowlers have stick and made long continue. Uh,
Mm.
so this is going to be a real test of character next game. Boxing Day
Yeah.
test match, the
Yeah. But I've
MCG.
noticed You know what's funny about this defeat, Avish? This reminds me of SA versus New Zealand, similar performance. And though, you know what's funny? That New Zealand pitch was not as treacherous as this pitch, to be brutally honest. That pitch was New Zealand bowling beautifully, line, length, perfect. Yeah, it was like, whoa. You know, if SA didn't concede so many byes in that second innings, I don't know. Australia could have still been batting by now, battling their asses off on this pitch. Excuse my language. So they could have probably lost 6 wickets if we didn't concede so many byes, man. It was so funny. I was reading on online. Byes are the highest score in the second innings. That's embarrassing, man. But it's
that's
fine.
true. That's true. And
But though, with credit to
yeah,
Australia, they deserved it. They bowled well, fielded well, batted also better. Although I think we did bowl a bit of kachra. I'm speaking a bit of Hindi now, but at times. But it's fine. I mean, I guess if you are going to be positive, you're going to get a few rubbish balls along the way. But honestly, I don't look at this defeat too badly because both sides battled on this pitch, and I think I've noticed this trend with South Africa. We slow starters like India, so I expect us to come back big in Melbourne, and I don't think we'll lose in 2 days. It'll be pretty embarrassing. And then Sydney, here we come. I'm confident we'll bounce back.
yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say this team definitely has the resolve to bounce back. No doubt, we've seen it. We've seen it in the India series last year, where India was supposedly favorites coming to these shows after so many years, and I mean, they ended up winning that series. Mind you, the bowlers were the real stars in that series. To be fair to you, and obviously the New Zealand Test series was a bit of that performance in the first Test was something to forget. It was awful in all departments, batting, bowling, and fielding. I think the bowling and the fielding was pretty good in this game. If I'm being honest, but obviously the batting has a lot to be desired. It was a difficult pitch, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about this pitch being, getting demerit points, and I think rightly so as well. I mean, it was a real substandard sort of wicket, and I mean, for a Test match to not go the distance, I mean, at least 4 days. Geez, at least 4 days. It's a real cause for concern, and I mean, look, I had this feeling yesterday when 15 wickets fell on the opening day. I just had a feeling that, it's going to be difficult for this game to go to the fourth day or even the third day. I mean, you just had that feeling where it was just going to get more difficult to bet on this wicket, and it proved to be. I think yesterday morning was probably. I think yesterday was probably the best time to bet on this wicket. But if you saw today and the amount of wickets that fell, I mean, geez, 19 wickets falling on a single day. I mean, that's like really criminal. I mean, that's absolutely insane. So, I mean, this obviously this test is going to be remembered for a lot of bad things, and obviously the pitch is going to be one of them. I'm just trying to figure out when was the last time a test match ended in 2 days in Australia, because Australian pitches are generally quite fair in terms of the pace and bounce, in terms of the batting.
I'm trying to remember, wasn't it that Melbourne pitch against England, or did that one only just last on the third day? I think it probably just lasted in 2.5 days. Australia beat England. Remember, that pitch in Melbourne was super spicy. That pitch was super spicy. Also, the one in Melbourne.
Yeah, that was roughly, I think, 2 days and 2 days and a session, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what Australia trying to do. Yeah, I think Australia, they're trying to become like South Africa, man. These spicy pitches, these spicy meatballs.
Look, if you look at the West Indies series that just ended, those pitches were pretty flat.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they were pretty flat. And
I thought they were fair pitches.
It was fair pitches, and you get this sort of pitch in a series that that has a lot of has a lot riding on it in terms of World Test Championship points.
Yeah,
I could see a bit of foul play there from the Aussies, Sid. I could definitely see a bit of foul play from the Aussies there, keeping so much of grass on that wicket. Kind of made it really, really impossible for the visiting team. Obviously, I mean, you'd expect the home side to battle through. I mean, even if it's difficult, you'd expect 1 or 2 players from the home team to actually battle through and score some runs. But I mean, for a visiting team that hasn't played in that venue for a very long time,
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of a shock to see this sort of wicket being prepared. So it's kind of I see kind of a bit of a foul play from the Aussies, and only time will tell how much of talking point this pitch would make. But I really think in terms of test standard, it was really substandard for me. I mean, everybody was looking forward to this test match, and two of the best bowling attacks going head to head. But I mean, nobody would have predicted this kind of result in 2 days. I mean, it was really a shocking kind of, I'd say, advertisement for Test cricket in a way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We just want to see something. So basically, I'm trying to check now. Who was the man of the match? Oh, Travis Head. Yeah, I think he was the deserved man of the match. I think he made 92 runs.
I just want to bring a point up here. I'm looking at this combination for the Proteas in this lineup, and I think personally, Avish Maharaj was actually a waste kind of selection in this game here, because I mean there was not much for him on this pitch, and I just think in hindsight, if they picked an extra batter, it wouldn't have made much of a difference leaving Keshav out, because to be honest with you, he wasn't much. There wasn't much in it for him as a bowler, and if you look at when he came on to bowl yesterday, straight away the Aussies attacked him, especially Travis said he was quite brutal on him. So I mean, there wasn't much impact for him in this game here. So if I look at the Braves trust here, definitely in terms of selection, they probably got this one wrong, Sid. They probably should have went with a 7-4 split. I wouldn't have mind playing an extra batsman, because at the end of the day, it was quite a difficult pitch to bat on. And I think with this bowling attack that we do have, and mind you, it is quite a world-class bowling attack that they have. I mean, 4 picks, it's one of the best in the world at the moment. That can, and I'm not surprised that they bowl the way that they bowl, because I rate this bowling attack so highly. I'm not surprised that the batters performed the way they did, because I mean, whenever the pitch is kind of spicy, they kind of battle on it. So I'm not surprised with this batting performance, but I just think the selectors got the combination wrong. Yeah, they probably should have went with a 7-4 split, and probably should have left Keshav out for this one. I think he still does have a role to play in the series, probably at Sydney. I don't think Melbourne is going to be much in it for him. I think Sydney is probably the pitch that he's probably going to suit him.
I think they asked Elgar on it, but I think Elgar will probably play him. He likes to have that spinner to keep things tight, and the seam is to be rotated. So I'll expect Keshav to play. I think De Bruyne might come in and take next test match for that Zondo guy. So I think that might happen. Just an instinct. Might be wrong.
Yeah, look, if I look at this batting lineup, there's not a single player in this batting lineup that say, their spot is quite, assured. In the sense, I'd say the only guy probably is Bavuma, because Bavuma has been one of our most consistent batters. But at the end of the day, I'd also love him to convert. I think a lot of times when I see him in test matches, he's looking so good in the early part of his innings. And if you look at cricket as a whole and test cricket as a whole, the first 30-40 runs is the most difficult to actually score. And he looks so good scoring the first 30-40 runs. But I think there's a lack of concentration there. And I don't know if it's a mindset thing, because when it comes to converting 50s to 100s and 100s to 150 and 150 to 200s, it's definitely a mental shift. So it's definitely a mentality thing. And I think players that have a strong mentality are the ones that actually convert those 50s into 100s. And I think in a way, this is what is hurting this team as well at the moment, because there's a lot of players that are scoring good 50s, good 50s, good 60s, good 70s, but they're not converting into big 100s. And I think if you score big 100s, more often than not, you're going to win a test match. And you're going to set your team up to win test matches. And I think at the moment, we're picking players that have not been having good conversion. And if I even look like a guy like Saril Elvia, very experienced in domestic cricket. But I mean, the guy's played like over 100 domestic games, and he's got like 37 50s, but only 10 hundreds. So that conversion rate is quite poor there, in the sense that he doesn't convert most of those 50s into hundreds. I mean, I understand he's an opening batsman in a sense, but
yeah.
if I look at the great players, the Kohlis, the Kohlis, the Williamsons, the Roots, the Amlas, the ADs, those players that knew how to convert those 50s into 100s and put their team into a match-winning position. And I think this team is lacking this at the moment. I think there's some inexperience there. I think Morne Morkel spoke about it, after the day one yesterday, that there's a little bit of inexperience in this batting lineup, especially in that middle order. That that's probably hurting this team in the moment, probably hampering this team in the sense that you kind of put it down to match awareness, because this bowling attack is so good that they don't really need 400, 500. I think 250, 300 is good enough for this bowling attack. I think this bowling attack can bowl out most teams in world cricket at the moment. They can take 20 wickets against most teams. So it's just a bit of inexperience in that batting lineup that's actually hurting the team at the moment. And that only comes with experience. Yeah.
I just had a funny thought. You said 250, 300. I think on this pitch, 200 would have been great on this pitch. If only had made that extra 50 runs, and Australia had made 218 today. And imagine, even if we had made this 99, you minus that 18-run lead, even 70 or 100 runs would have been massively great score to defend, which is pretty embarrassing. But anyway, I can't. This is too depressing, man. Let's try and focus on the positive.
I guess. I mean, it comes down to a little bit of application as well. I think we saw in this test match as well. The first 20 overs is the toughest. But if you can survive that first 20 overs, it gets a little bit easier. And we saw it with Head yesterday, and we saw it with Bavuma and Verena to an extent, that 98-run partnership, which was actually good to see. So I think that's the barrier at the moment. That's kind of hurting this team in a sense where we're not getting good opening partnerships, and the number 3, number 4 is exposed to the new ball, and they're ultimately facing the new ball, and they're obviously getting out cheaply as well. So
but actually,
opening partnerships are really, really so important at these formats. So I mean, as I said to you, Melbourne. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's a better wicket. I'm hoping there's not so much of grass like it was. I think Melbourne would probably suit this Proteas team. As I said before this series, I thought Melbourne was their best chance of actually getting a result, and I still think it is.
But hypothetically,
it's going to be a real test of character.
Yeah, it will be. But actually, on a final note, if I'm going to go by trends and patterns, I'm not going to really take this defeat too seriously. One, because it's the first test and we are generally slow starters. And if you look at the New Zealand as a reference, I'm kind of taking solace from that they're losing inside 2 days. I don't know how many days we lost in New Zealand, but knowing South Africa, they're such a proud team, we'll definitely bounce back big. Hopefully we'll just win the toss and bowl first. If this pitch in Melbourne is similar to this pitch, we've got to bowl first. And then we can at least get to lead. Bowl Australia out for 80 like we did in 2018, if you can remember, when we bowled them out for 80 plus. If we do that, we can definitely win the match. Even if we make 150 to 200 in the next test match, we'll pretty much have it wrapped up. That's my hope. If the pitch is like this again in Melbourne, we must bowl first. Simple. Win the toss, bowl first, get them out for 80, make 200, and bowl them out again, chase about 30. That's it. Simple. Simple game.
Well, I wish it was that simple. So my final thoughts here is, I think I think the time for excuses is over with regards to this batting lineup. I think the bowlers have been bailing them out for too long. I think the next test match, it's time the batters step up. And I think a lot of those batsmen in the top 6 actually owes this team some scores. So I'm really hoping the batters step up in the next game, Sid. And for far too long, the bowlers have been carrying this team. So if the batters can step up and maybe, I genuinely think 350 is going to be a winning score on that pitch there. If they can get 300, 350, I think we're in control. I think we're in control with that bowling liner that we do have.
In Melbourne, 350.
We can have some runs to play with there.
On that pitch in Melbourne, 350, that's a blimmin' miracle. Because Melbourne, if you can remember against England, that pitch was spicy. I didn't I've never seen Australian pitches this spicy. And I'm not making any excuses for us. Obviously, we did badly, but it's not like we played rash off, as Elga said in the press conference. We just got out really good balls. So, and it's kind of our bad luck. We've been playing on such spicy pitches, and I would admit, if our bowlers weren't this great, we would have probably been in England in the table. We wouldn't even be in the top two even. So, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I think our bowlers are the main credit for why we have been in the top two, amazingly enough. So, but anyway, that's my final thoughts. I'll reserve judgment till the series is over. I still expect us to win the next test match. I know they're quite bullish after this defeat, but I don't know. I have a feeling we'll pull something off. Even if we have to scrape it, we'll get it done.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, you're talking about that Test Championship table. I mean, if you look at that table is a bit deceiving in a way because I don't think we're as good as that table suggests, but I also don't think we're as bad as people think and would like to think as a team. I think there is definitely a lot of potential in this team. I think as a batting unit, this team is still really, really relatively inexperienced at this level in terms of a batting lineup.
Yeah.
Really, really relatively inexperienced. I mean, there's only a few players there in that batting lineup with over 50 tests. So that is why, I mean, I spoke to you about Aiden Markram, and I know Aiden Markram is being, he's had a rough 2 years in terms of Test match batting, but I just feel he's the sort of player that gets under the Aussie skin a bit, and he's the sort of player that actually can fight fire with fire. So, when the series, obviously, I was thinking about it for about a year now, and I thought the Aiden Markram would definitely be opening innings with Dean Elgar here in this Test series. But unfortunately, things have really gone wayward for him.
He's been atrocious. So, he's been atrocious, man.
It's been atrocious, but I do feel if he can go back and score those runs at domestic level and boost his confidence back, I still think there's a future for him in this format. And I think Aiden Markram needs to bat up the order. I think that's where he is at his best. I know it's been a tough period for him, but I do feel I do think putting him down the order is going to mess the play up. Because if you look at most of his centuries so far, it's been up the order. So why would you change that as a player? I mean, a player has scored all these Test centuries batting up the order as an opener. I wouldn't want to change that. I know he's been through a rough time, but I wouldn't want to change it. I'd want to put him back there as an opener. So I think it's all about him gaining his confidence. It's really unfortunate that he's not there because I think he's the one player that can get under the Aussie skin. And I don't think we have a lot of players at the moment that can get under Aussie skin. I think the one guy that can do it is Dean Elgar, but he's been out of form for so long at the moment now. So he really owes this team some runs.
Yeah, I know you would have defended de Kock, but also you got under the Australian skin, especially the famous David Warner and him incident, but that was a long time ago. That would have been fun if de Kock was playing. But he and Timber Baboom are historic for those saving partnerships. Anyway, that's the past. We can talk on this topic all day long. Just Australia, South Africa, spicy issue.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Because, I mean, you talk about de Kock. That's the one player that we were missing in this game, a player that could have counter-attacked. And we saw Travis said do that for Australia because he's kind of the counter-attacking player. So we're missing that one player that can counter-attack the opposition. I mean, even if you're 80 for 5, you've got a player that can come in and score quickly and take the game away from an opposition. And I think that's the kind of player that we're missing at the moment. I think there is some potential in Verena. I think he's still young. He's still trying to find his game, but I think he is one for the future.
Rickleton wasn't playing in this match. Why is that? I've noticed that Rickleton didn't play. Why is that? Is he injured?
Well, look, he's been omitted from the squad, unfortunately, because Rossi and Baboom have come back into the lineup. I don't think there is a spot for him at the moment. But I mean, if you had to pick between,
he can come in for Zondo.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. You look what I saw from Zondo today, Sid. I mean, although there's a lot of players there are a lot of supporters that have given him a bit of flack and stuff. I saw some promising signs from Zondo.
Okay.
And I think they obviously want to try and give him an opportunity and see what he can do at this level. But
him on this pitch. It won't be
I,
fair. This is Melbourne.
I do think it's not the time to crucify anybody at the moment. But I do feel come Melbourne, we've got to play an extra better, and I think we've got to drop Maharaj for this game. So we've got to drop him.
I don't know.
And I think we've just got to back our four pace bowlers to get the job done, because they're that good. They're that good, Sid. And I think we've got to play that extra better, and that extra better is obviously going to be Tinas. We've got to pick Tinas into the lineup there and put him at maybe probably got to play him at number 6, number 5 or number 6. It depends, but I personally would play him at number 3, because I think that's where he played most of his cricket in his career and representing the Proteas as well. So I think I'd play him at number 3, and I'd move Rasi and Bavuma obviously one space down, and I put Verena at number 7, because I think Verena at number 7 is actually good, because I mean let's just say if we won 40 for 5 at Melbourne, he could come in and score quick fire 60 or 70 and push that score up to 300. So, that's something to look at, Sid. That's definitely something to look at. I would personally play an extra better and drop Maharaj for the Melbourne test.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm still feeling that we should have Maharaj because he keeps things tight. But anyway, they'll do what they want to do. Now let's get to the India and Bangladesh. India won by 188 runs. Kuldeep Yadav got 8 wickets in the match. Nice to see him in the wickets. I don't know if you watched any of the highlights of India and Bangladesh. Were you able to?
I actually didn't watch much of this game, to be honest with you. But I saw a bit of the scores, so I think it's a welcome return to form for Pujara. I think he has been getting a lot of flack from supporters and for a while now, with regards to his form. But I think it's a welcome return for him. I thought that was a magnificent innings, and then obviously Jill finally getting that test 100. So there was some really impressive performances from the batting lineup. I thought the pitch was actually quite good. I think it was a good test match pitch compared to the one that we saw here.
Can't compare, man. No, but I think there was
you really can't compare, because I mean
there were criticisms on this pitch that it was a bit too slow. I think Dinesh Karthik, when I watched him on Crickbuzz, he was saying this pitch could also get a demerit point, but it could, but I don't think it'll be. I think this Chittagong pitch was probably the best one compared to the other Chittagong pitches they prepared, because normally in Chittagong it's either too flat or it's either too radical. This was okay. I mean, I wouldn't give it a demerit point. Okay, fine, it wasn't the greatest, but I mean, definitely this pitch would get a demerit point, the one for the Australian one, but we've spoken at length about that. But I don't know.
I don't think anything can compare to what we saw in Brisbane. So this pitch is on another level. So I think any wicket. I don't think you're going to get any wickets that are going to try and match what we've seen here so far. I mean, really controversial, this pitch here that was prepared at Brisbane. I mean, the Aussie fans would love it, because I mean they obviously won the test match, but I mean as a neutral and as obviously supporting the opposition as well, you wouldn't want that sort of wicket. I mean, who wants to see a test match ending 2 days? And I know there was a guy on Cricinfo said that he bought a ticket for the 3rd day, and now that ticket is going to be wasted because this pitch is not going to go to the 3rd day.
They get refunded.
You probably could get a refund, But I mean, in the general sense that you wanted to watch some Test cricket on day 3, and you're not going to get any Test cricket on day 3. So in that sense, it's a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah, I think it's probably a once-off for Brisbane. I don't think they would prepare anything that spicy ever again. Generally, Brisbane is known to be bouncy. It's not generally known to be this over the top. I remember the India and Australia match in Brisbane. It was a fair pitch, I remember. Even though I think it did get a bit hectic to bat on the 5th day, but that's expected. But that's a long time ago, I think.
Can I just add something? Here? The last 3 series that SA have actually won in Australia, and at a venue that they've really like excelled in. And I think the Aussies have been wary of this, and that is why they didn't actually add this venue on this calendar. It has been Perth. I think I think the Aussies were a bit scared that if they play the Proteas at Perth, they probably get a bit of a wake up call there. So I think they
Yeah.
dodged that venue, because I think that venue would have really suited SA in terms of their batting and with their bowling well, because I don't think they lost the test at Perth recently, and if you're looking at results in Australia, I mean, it's not the easiest place to come and win a series, Sid, if you think about it. So you've got to be on top of your game with bat and with ball. So I think if SA were to pull the series off, it's probably going to be as miraculous as what India did in 2021 with that famous Test series win and being written off after the first Test, being bowled out for 36 in Adelaide, and coming back and showing so much of character at Melbourne. So I think that's what the Proteas have to do now. This is really going to be a test of character at quite an intimidating venue, sir, at Melbourne on Boxing Day. You've got 60, 70,000 Australian fans there. It's going to be quite intimidating for these players. A lot of these players might not have experienced this. I don't think there's any player in this lineup that have actually experienced this, because I think the last time that SA won so memorably at Melbourne, I mean, that famous knock from Dumini and that spell from Steyn was just unbelievable. I don't think there's any survivors on the team, if my memory serves me correct. So this is a totally different experience for these players. But I just hope they're not overawed by the occasion. And I think as professionals, they wouldn't really be overawed by it, would they?
No, I think SA generally like that big stage, and also they're kind of up against it now. They've got nothing to lose, so play a lot better. We just got to win the toss and bowl first. That's what I'm hoping for, provided the pitch is similar to Brisbane, but I don't think so. I think it's a once-off for Brisbane. I don't think they'll prepare anything as hectic ever again. But man, I think we just digressed there, man. How did you find KL Rahul's captaincy? I forgot you didn't watch much of it. KL Rahul, our favorite captain. I think it was probably predicted that he was going to get his first win as captain against Bangladesh. I don't think he would have had any easy opposition to beat,
I mean, if you look at it historically, I'd say this series is probably a bit of a mismatch. I think in terms of series and historically, India have obviously had such an advantage over Bangladesh. So, I mean, obviously playing Kuldeep, and he's a wrist spinner, he's always going to add an edge to your attack. So I think from that sense, you couldn't have asked for an easier start as a captain, but obviously there's going to be much more sterner tests to come, and not more sterner than the Aussies touring India next year. So well, actually, that's a conversation for another day, but there is obviously going to be sterner tests to come.
Yeah, I know Rohit Sharma is coming back but Rohit Sharma is coming back, so KL Rahul can enjoy his first win as Test captain. I know he captained against us, South Africa, and he obviously, and the rest is history. You know that story. He made some really delightful decisions in South Africa captaining, but shame, I don't want to bash him. At least he got a win against Bangladesh. That's his historical win as Test captain. Rohit Sharma is coming back to captain in the second Test, and You're laughing. No, but seriously, Rohit Sharma is coming back, and I think India will beat Bangladesh 2-0. And I think there's discussions that Kuldeep could play even in the Australia series, which should happen, because if the pitches in India are like as spicy as, whatever that. Although, you know what Indian pitches are? I was going to say, Indian
it's actually quite strange you talk about it, because there was a lot of flack last year when that series, that test match between India and England ended in a day and a half. I hope this test match gets the same sort of treatment and the same sort of backlash from fans and from experts as well, because you don't want to have any double standards. I think this pitch was just as bad, so it deserves the treatment. I mean, if you're going to do it for Indian pitches, you've got to do it for Australian pitches as well.
Are you referring to Ahmedabad by any chance? Was Ahmedabad the pitch where it ended in 1.5 days?
That's correct. I'm referring to that one.
Oh, the day-nighter. God, I nearly forgot about that.
Yes.
And Akshar Patel had a field day, man. Shame, man. I think for the last test match, it was so bad. I think Jasprit Bumrah even wanted to have a rest, man, because he hardly even played. I think he wanted to be with his fiancée, I think, and then another bowler had taken his place. It was so bad. Just spinners having a field day in that series. I think it's the same thing can happen for Australia because India is desperate to get those points to qualify for the finale, for the finals. I mean, which I think they will because if they beat Bangladesh, that's 2-0. They need to win 3 out of those 4 matches. Australia, which I think they will. So I think India will make finals. I'm calling it. The other team, I don't know. Hopefully, if we can beat Australia, even draw the series against Australia, then Australia will be out because India will beat Australia. That's my theory. Then I don't know who will make the finals from there. Could be us. If we can draw the series against Australia, we beat West Indies badly. Yeah.
Well, Australia have been causing this habit of not beating India in their home ground, in their own backyard. So good luck to them trying to beat India in India. So that's going to be one of their biggest challenges.
On radical turners, I highly doubt it. Hey, if India prepare fair pitches, which is kind of a rare thing in India, but then I think Australia have a chance, and that's a big thing coming from me. But I think India will beat Australia. I think India like to beat Australia. It's part of their thing. Imagine, who would have thought?
Talking about radical pitches, I just feel in a lot of countries at the moment, especially home teams, we're not getting really fair pitches, test match pitches where it's kind of a 50-50 sort of game.
Yeah.
And we used to get that a lot in South Africa before, where we had good batting pitches. But I think all over the world at the moment, whether it's the subcontinent, whether it's in the center-playing countries, you're getting pitches to ideally suit the home team. And I think we saw it in the England series as well. I mean, after England lost the first test at Lord's, I think the ego was bruised a bit. And I don't want to say anything about the next 2 pitches because those pitches were really, really spiced. Thereafter, there was so much of swing movement on those pitches, and really, really difficult for this pretty fragile South African batting lineup.
Yeah, man. Okay, speaking of pitches, I know we've been bashing Pakistan for their pitches for either being too batsman friendly, and then the second test and third test, so before we end the third test, I don't know if we discussed the I think we did discuss second test. Yeah, we prayed England till the cows come home, and then this is quite an interesting test match, man. Pakistan at 304, England at 294 for 7. We're on the second day, the trail by 10. This is what you call a fair test match. It's a slow turner, but at least no one's getting hurt, no one's ego is getting bruised. It's a good match. What do you say?
Absolutely. I think this is a sort of test match we would probably wanted at the Gabba, but unfortunately didn't get it. So I think Pakistan they're missing that one world-class bowler in the series, and I think that's what's really hurt them in the sense that England have been able to dominate them in their home conditions. And I just want to say, Shaheen Shah Afridi, if he was playing in the series, it's a totally different ball game. Totally different ball game because he's been their best bowler for a long time. So I just feel Pakistan are missing that one world-class bowler in their lineup. They're batting. I mean, look, it was really, really disappointing in the sense that they probably could have won that second test, but mind my language, this was a typical Pakistan game where they really effed it up in the chase. So,
but I think they had that one bad decision against them, though. I think they had that one bad decision against them.
But a typical,
I know what you're
typical effing up of a game that they probably should have won and could have won if they just showed a little bit of application. Because I mean, I know you spoke about it that morning, and I tuned in for a little bit of that game, and I just think they lost their wickets so cheaply towards the end, and that was pretty disappointing because if it was 1-1, it probably would have made for a really, really good contest in this final game. But I think because the tendency is so bad here, are they playing in Karachi or Lahore, if I'm not mistaken?
They're playing in Karachi this time. They're playing in Karachi. So, this has actually been a fortress for Pakistan. And I just saw a few images there that ground is like almost empty. So I think the
Pakistani fans have lost interest in the series as well. So,
Yeah,
which is
it's
really
dead rubber.
disappointing to see. But I mean,
It's a dead rubber, that's why.
Credit to England. I think England
Yeah.
have been fantastic on this on this tour. I think the reverse swing that they've shown. I think they've reversed the ball much better than Pakistan, and that's
who would have thought
been the
that?
telling difference here.
But
Would have thought that, eh?
Yeah, Harry Brook has been a bit of a sensation on this tour, making runs for fun. I think he made 100 today. I think he made like another 100. And let me see. Yeah, man. And England are going at 4.10 runs and over. Baz Ball is still flying, man. I know he spoke Baz Ball not at run rate, but I think Baz Ball has got more the combination of mindset and run rate. That's my theory of Baz Ball. Mindset and run rate.
My theory of baseball is probably playing positive, and I think ever since McCullum has taken over from this England side, it's been positive cricket, and I think that's what's lacking from the Proteas at the moment, especially with the batting team. There's not a lot of positivity, and I think if you play positive cricket, you give yourself a chance of winning a lot more Test matches. But baseball is working here. But I have a question for you. Would it work on a ranked turn in India? Would baseball actually work on a ranked turn in India?
Yeah, if England can conquer Australia, especially on these spicy decks, and then on India on their radical pitches, that's the final conquest for England because they've beaten us for fun in our backyard. So I think those two are the grounds for England to. So I reserve judgment until they do it, but I don't know how England would have enjoyed that Brisbane pitch with their attacking play. Maybe they would have made 250 all out, 200 all out, and with their bowling attack, we never know. Especially if they had Jofra Archer, that would have been fun to watch. But anyway, that's another time for another year, man. I remember when Archer knocks Steve Smith's head off.
It's interesting.
Yeah, imagine Archer knocks Steve Smith's head off. Imagine seeing that again in Brisbane. That would have been awesome to have watched. Shame, I shouldn't say that. That was bad. No, but seriously, I mean, that's the final conquest for England, Australia and India. I don't think SA is our conquest for England. England's beaten us for fun, man. So I think those are my thoughts on England. I can't really answer that question yet until they win at those two grounds, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. It's kind of disappointing in a way, but yeah, if I were to ask you the question, why is it that England has such a good record in SA as opposed to other countries? Why is that the case? Because
I think there's been more of our mindset, and also England have played us whenever we have had a crap series against India. So England were just lucky to take advantage of when we were mentally down. And I don't know when we play England.
That's true.
And I don't know when we're playing England at home again. I'd love us to play against England this time, considering our ranking is better than theirs. Although I think it's kind of unfortunate we're playing England when they're on the surge, when they're at the up. So we seem to play England when they're on the surge, not when they're on the down. So we need to play England when they're going on the dumpster.
And what frustrates me is the Aussies are always playing England when they're at their lowest, and so they can give them a real hammering. Especially in Australia where the actual series are like so one-sided. So
you know what's funny? I like it when England.
Interesting topic.
I like it when Australia come to England because I know that series will be more competitive. But when England come to Australia, I just get disinterested very quickly because I know that once the first test gets done and Australia win it, then I'm like off put. I don't even want to watch anymore. I just watch it on catch up more and more. But that's my theory on that. I know we've digressed a lot, but I guess that's because these two fixtures were kind of, England and Pakistan, England. This is an interesting series, but I think this is probably going to head towards. I think this match will go either way. It's Pakistan, England. I don't think it's going to be as predictable as the first two are. Although I shouldn't say that. The first match looked like a draw, but England did some magic. The second test should have probably gone to Pakistan because I thought they had enough time to chase over 300 runs. And this one, I think it's going to go either way. Actually, I don't really care about the result. I kind of want England to win 3-0 because it'll be kind of historic. But if Pakistan win, it's good for them. I think Pakistan are out of the contention anyway for championships. I think they sabotaged themselves with the picture they prepared. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of a 50-50 game now. I think it's all about what Pakistan can do in that second innings. If they can set England up maybe 300, it probably might be a difficult chase. But I mean, looking at the way this England side actually play and and the way they approach test matches, they probably go for it as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But I think at the moment, probably 50-50.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to see something here before we wrap off. Yeah, this is the final match of England's tour. I think India and Bangladesh. I want to see if they have any more fixtures, or unless they're only playing test matches. Let me see something here quickly. Yeah, it's only these two test matches. Okay, that's on the 22nd of December. That's on Thursday. We both concur India's going to win that. So I just want to see something here. What else? Oh, we're only playing test matches in Australia, right? We're not playing any ODIs, right?
Yeah, that's correct because of the SA20 competition. So
yes, we sacrificed that for the legal. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. It's okay. I think we'll still qualify for the 50 over World Cup because we are playing qualifiers. Our position there won't be that exciting. So I think if we apply ourselves, we should qualify, even in the qualifiers. But obviously, it's all about the mind. The mind is an amazing organ. The mind is right. Anything can happen. I don't know if you agree with that. If you look at how England have revolutionized the 50
absolutely.
It's all about
absolutely.
mindset.
I think mindset is. I think when it comes to cricket more than any other sport, the mindset is such an important thing. It can really overcome a lot of things. It can overcome a lot of demons, especially in terms of batting, because batting is such a mindset thing. So if your mind is right in terms of your batting, you're definitely going to be scoring runs. So when I go back to what I say about Bavuma, and that conversion rate is so poor, it's just a mindset thing more than anything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. Just want to try and see when the next date of the match is. I'm just trying to. Sorry, I was digressing. Who would have thought our discussion on this SA Australia match was going to be more on the pitch than the play itself? How sad. Yeah, that's so sad. It's actually on the 26th of December, so there's about 8 days for us to rebuild ourselves, to dust ourselves off. Not that I think SA is going to lose much sleep over this because both sides didn't even make 250. So I think it's 8 days, we'll be fine. There's enough time to lick our wounds and be motivated. And I think also much time for the groundsman to take enough grass so that we don't get a Brisbane. So I think it'll be a much fairer pitch in Melbourne. I don't think in Melbourne it's going to be.
And I think I think after I think after the flack that the groundsman at the Gabba got from this pitch, they'd probably be the groundsman at Melbourne will probably be under pressure to prepare a much more fair deck, and I hope we get that. But maybe these extra days is probably a blessing in disguise for the Proteas. That they can go back and regroup. But having said that, I mean, I've got nothing bad to say about the bowlers.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very proud about the bowlers in this game here. They really bowled. They bowled their heart out. With regards to 2 mediocre totals that were put up there, it's all about the batsmen stepping up in that next game now. So they really owe this team a lot of runs. So they really owe this team 350. They owe the bowlers 350, and I hope they do get 350 at Melbourne. 300, 350, I'd be happy with that.
300, provided the Melbourne pitch is fair. I mean, but I don't think it's going to be. I think if we can just get to 300, that'll be okay. Even 250. It all depends on how Melbourne looks. Because remember that Melbourne pitch against England was ridiculously spicy. But anyway, that's enough said, man. I'm trying to remember now what I was going to tell you. Any final word before we leave? I think I lost my train of thought, man.
Yeah, look, I'm just hoping for a better match in Melbourne. I mean, this wasn't not a good advertisement for Test cricket. I mean, ending in 2 days, eagerly anticipated Test match. It's not how you want to start a Test series, and a lot of talking points will be on the pitch. But I do feel the Proteas batsmen have let them down really badly in this match as well. So I really hope they can step it up in the next game because
I just remembered now.
Bowling attack is really world class. Yeah,
I just remembered. You know what's sad? That even if we qualify for the World Championship final, we'll be playing in England. Hey, why can't they change the venues for the finals? It's so ridiculous. 2 championship finals in England. Can't they have it in a different venue, whether it's in Asia even? Like even have it in Dubai.
Why can't they have it? Why can't they have it at the Wanderers? Why can't they have it at the Wanderers? Just have it at the Wanderers.
Unfortunately, our pitches are just as bad as, but our pitches that become just as bad as Brisbane. Well, not as bad, but similarly bad. But I know what you're saying. It would be good marketing for us if we had a pitch. Yeah. Or even in Cape Town. Cape Town pitches are not that bad. Although I think that Cape Town pitch against India was spicy, but not as spicy as the Wanderers. I think it was okay. I think, yeah. We need to do a lot of work on our pitches. That's why our batsmen are so crap. We need to improve on that. Because if you're playing good pitches, batsmen can play with confidence. But when you play on rubbish pitches, batsmen's brains are really fried. Their minds are not there. So, and I think this is the one for Australia. Australia hardly prepares these types of pitches. I don't know why it happened of late, but I guess they can only answer that. I know in England they had spicy pitches, but they were bearable. But anyway, I'm over it now. I think we'll be fine. That's my final word.
Yeah. Look, I hate to say this, but I think it's probably a bit of ego that obviously keeps in, and they probably want to have an advantage. So this is why they probably prepared this sort of wicket with so much of grass on it. It's quite insane to think about it, because when I look at Australian pitches, they're one of the most they're more truer in the sense of bat and ball. But at the end of the day, we can go hours and hours about this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm writing it off. I'm looking at the New Zealand series as a reference point. That's my only consolation of looking at it. So, okay, we shall catch up after the 26th of December match gets done, and then hopefully we have much more positive points. Enough pitches now. We've spoken enough about pitches to last the year. Actually, the year's coming to an end now. Wow. So, in that sense, I wish you great. I don't know if well, fine. We don't celebrate Christmas, but I wish the viewers a great Christmas and Boxing Day, and that's pretty much it from my side.
Yeah, happy holidays to the viewers, and all the best for the festive season. And we'll see you soon.
Take care, man.
Cheers.